The Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome to episode 2, series 5 of the Wycombe Wanderers Show. Very glad to have your company after 2 games of the season have been played since we last spoke. Perhaps you're new to the show. Perhaps this is the first one you've heard of the season. Perhaps you didn't know last week was the first one, previewing the League One game, opening campaign of the new season away at Wrexham. Perhaps you missed that. Perhaps you're new to the show altogether. You've missed 4 seasons. Where have you been? You didn't rest a lot. If you do fancy catching up, though, all the shows are available wherever you get your podcasts from. Well worth a listen. Some of the chat might be a bit out of date by now, but some features, for example, with some brilliant conversations with ex-players, for example, they still work. That's some of them might be discussing things which are happening at the time, but well worth a listen. Chatting to all sorts of different players from different eras and some who are currently in different countries as well, which has been well worth doing. Back to this week, though. Meandered slightly. This one will be available on a podcast. You might be listening to it now, although not if it's live because it won't be ready yet. Anyway, we'll chat to Phil in a couple of moments' time. Also coming up in this hour, as we, as I say, reflect slightly on what happened on Tuesday in the EFL Cup, a brilliant 2-0 win up at Northampton. Look ahead to the visit of Birmingham City to Adams Park in the first home game of the campaign. That's coming up on Saturday, of course. First opportunity of the season for you to get your hands on those sensory packs as well. More on that with the Chief Executive of the Foundation, Mark Gateskill, joins us in a bit too. We'll be catching up with JDT, the Vice Chair of Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, find out what they've been up to and what they have in store as well. From Wycombe Wanderers Women, we'll chat to veteran, hope she doesn't mind me calling her that, defender Emma Newbury, who's currently abroad, has very kindly taken time out of her trip to speak to us as they continue their preparations for the new season. The first batch of fixtures are out for the new women's season, which starts on the 1st of September, not far away. We'll be looking ahead to some of the guests we've got from Wycombe Wanderers Women coming up as well. I think that's everything, but there might be more as well. Depends. Anything can happen in the next hour. First, though, as always, let's begin with Phil. And brilliant to get the first 2 games of the season underway and first win on Tuesday night up at Northampton in the Cup.
Yeah, always good to get the first win in the League Cup. So into the second round, and we all saw the draw last night. And a long away trip to Swansea City in the second round. So, albeit a tough game, not impossible. So exciting, but yeah, good win on Tuesday night against a fellow League One side as well. And I think the only downside from Tuesday night is that we should have scored more than the 2 that we did. But really comfortable throughout, and two good goals scored. Although the second one was an own goal, but the football in the build up to it was excellent. And yeah, really promising signs and a clean sheet. And I don't think Northampton had a shot on target until the 91st minute. So really good team performance from front to back. And then, of course, the red card to Alex Hartridge was a bit of a blow and a little bit harsh as well, having looked back on it too. So that's a bit of an inconvenience for Saturday. But other than that, a good night really in Northampton. Solid win. And after the match, spoke to the gaffer, who was very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Delighted to get through. Clean sheet. I think it was 91 minutes before there was a shot on target, our goal. So we've got to be pleased with that. Yeah, I thought we held a real good threat all night. Hit the bar again a couple of times. Saturday twice, I think, and again a couple of times tonight. But got 2 goals. It's nice for Dan to get on the score sheet. You know, he's had a real good pre-season with us. He's such a diligent, conscientious guy. Like, he fits right in. And we're really pleased with what he's done. And I thought him and Richard held a real good threat between them tonight. Obviously, a slight change of shape. And yeah, really pleased with the work that those 2 did.
Yeah, 4 changes and the change of shape as well, back to a back 3 tonight as well. What was the thoughts of that going into this one?
I think there's a couple of things that contributed towards it. I think that obviously GMAC had a little bit of a stomach upset on Saturday, so we didn't think that it was right to play him tonight, and it meant we only had one wide man left with Sad, so we felt like the change in formation fitted the group that we had available for the game tonight. So it was that, and I was really enthused by the second half with Dan and Richard up front as a pair, so I wanted to have a look at that. So there's a couple of things that played into it, and wanted to make sure we had enough energy going into the game with 4 changes. So yeah, a few things that played into it, and obviously pleased with the way it played out.
It brings the width from the wing-back positions. Dan Harvey and Jasper Pattenden really took their chances tonight as well.
Yeah, Dan's done it obviously, so many times for MK Dons. Alex Hartridge has played that left of 3 at Exeter. Jasper was particularly good for us as a wing-back last year. So again, it just seemed to have the right players in their right comfortable positions for the game tonight. So yeah, those two gave us really good width. Dan's such an intelligent footballer, and Jasper's all energy. He's actually had a really, really good pre-season. He's running Jack really close for his position. Jack's club captain has been great for us, but Jasper's done particularly well as well. So that's really good competition for places. So yeah, it was really good to have a look at him in the first team picture tonight.
And great as well, really encouraging, especially after the changes made from Saturday, to see the team, doing so well.
Yeah, it's a squad game, and that was always going to be the case with the start to the season, because it's Saturday, Tuesday, I think, for 3 weeks now, especially now we're in the second round of the Carabao Cup, because that will come round very quickly. Next Tuesday, we've got the Football League Trophy first group game against Wimbledon away, and then the following Tuesday is that Swansea game, and then just a small matter of Birmingham this Saturday and Rotherham the Saturday after. So it's a real kind of up and at 'em start this season. But, I think it's a good time to get some of these teams. I think we were really unlucky at Wrexham, giving away 2 poor goals from our point of view defensively would always make it difficult away from home. But there were some really promising signs on the pitch, especially going forwards. So yeah, I think, we'll be ready for Birmingham. And I think it'll be a great game in what should be a really good atmosphere as well.
So what have been the main things that really stood out for you from your opening 2 performances?
I think the fact that, we've all our strikers who are fit are pretty much off the mark. Vokesy scored against Wrexham. Richard Kone scored. Again, unlucky not to get more than one, really. And then Dan Udo on Tuesday night opening his account for Wycombe Wanderers, which was excellent. And you want your strikers to score early in the season, don't you, to get that confidence and start building. So that was really excellent. That was a really good, promising sign. Bez was looking sharp in pre-season. He's picked up a bit of a knock, so he's out for a couple of weeks maybe. So, but he scored in pre-season too. So, we're looking sharp up front. We've hit the bar an awful lot, which is annoying because obviously they don't count. But, we're creating, which shows that we're creating really good opportunities to score. And a bit of luck, we get a few of those more in now. And then, we can really hopefully take a team to the cleaners. I'd love to see that happen. Wouldn't it be great if it started against Birmingham?
No, absolutely. And really nice not to have conceded a goal on Tuesday night as well.
Yeah, clean sheet. It was a back 3. As we heard from the gaffer just then, that was to suit the personnel that were available for that game. We looked good actually. And I think actually we caught Northampton a bit by surprise in the first half. It looked like they'd prepared for a Wycombe back 4. It's the first time we've seen a back 3 since the turn of the year, I think, when Wycombe had that bad run. So I know a few Wycombe fans would have been a bit, looking at the forum, there was a few saying that they were a bit concerned about it, but actually the performance on the night was excellent, and it really sort of made the most of the personnel available that night. And I think players who really benefited from it were the wing backs. Dan Harvey looked excellent going up and down the left hand side. And Jasper Pattenden as well. He's growing on every appearance for Wycombe Wanderers, now into his 3rd season at the club and building on that impressive run of games he had last season.
No, absolutely. I remember speaking to you in the last campaign about how he's really, as you say, that was in a cup competition, wasn't it? He really sort of made his mark and then took advantage of his opportunity really well. Yeah,
it was 2 years pretty much to the day that he made his debut for Wycombe Wanderers at Northampton away in the cup. So it just goes to show you what hard work and a great attitude can do for you, because he's a great pro, he's a great guy, and and he works really, really hard. And he's had to be patient at times as well. But we heard it from the gaffer just now. There, he's pushing Jack Grimmer, the club captain, really hard for that right back position, and right wing back opens that up even further, and there could be more opportunities if we do indeed use that system going forwards.
And we spoke last week about how useful it was playing championship opposition in pre-season. Essentially, on Saturday, we're playing championship opposition in the season.
Well, I'll have to disagree with you, because the league table doesn't lie. Because they got relegated, and that's what it's all about. And it's interesting. We've been doing the show this week, and we look back to August 1994, the first meetings between Birmingham City and Wycombe Wanderers. And reading the literature around the game, it was Birmingham who had just been relegated from the 2nd tier into the 3rd tier, but were absolutely nailed on favourites to win the title, having spent loads of money in pre-season. And I read that and I'm thinking, well, that sounds pretty similar to this situation. That by all intents and purposes, they are a championship club in terms of their size and stature. They played in the Premier League. The money they spent in the summer has been sort of eye-watering at times. They've added quality all over the pitch. Look at the goalkeeping position. Bailey Peacock-Farrell, Ryan Alsop, two championship-level goalkeepers that have proven themselves. And they've signed both of them. And they've played 2 games so far this season, one in the league, one in the cup. And they've played both goalkeepers, so there's an early headache there for the manager Chris Davies, who's come from Tottenham. He was the coach to Ange Postecoglou at Spurs and wants to play in a similar fashion, we've been told. So can he do it in League One? Can these expensive players do it in League One? We'll have to see.
It should be quite an atmosphere as well. I know fans really look forward to the opening home league game of the season anyway.
Exactly that. It was a good trip to Wrexham. Result aside, fantastic club, warm welcome, and a fantastic atmosphere. And hopefully we can replicate that tomorrow at Adams Park. Sorry, not tomorrow, on Saturday, Adams Park, because as you say, first home game of the season. It was a really good atmosphere against Watford. It was a pre-season crowd. This will be a much fuller ground. The away fans will be making a lot of noise as well. That's sold out the away end. It's busy in the home sides too, so the atmosphere should be good. Hopefully the sun's out as well. It always helps this time of year, and hopefully a really good atmosphere. And if the players can tune into that and respond and deliver a fantastic performance, hopefully the result that we all want as well.
And speaking to the manager before the start of the season, he was saying, he's never going to be happy, but do you think he's fairly pleased with the start that they've made?
I think, elements of the performance at Wrexham that he was pleased with. Obviously, there were parts that he wasn't quite so pleased with. But in terms of, you look at what we're doing in terms of creating chances and scoring goals, then yes, we've scored 4 goals in 2 games. Obviously we were on the wrong end of a 5-goal exciting game on opening day. But, the errors that caused the Wrexham goals, they're avoidable ones. But you'd be more worried if you were losing 3-0 or not creating anything. So, it's these early games, isn't it? The pattern will emerge. The new signings will settle into that competitive match day environment. And hopefully we can really kick on and get a run going.
Perhaps there's someone listening who's not been to a Wycombe game perhaps before. What would you say they can expect from a day out at Adams Park?
Well, it's a very friendly welcome. It's a family club, Wycombe Wanderers. It's a great place to come and watch football. It's safe. It's a great atmosphere. And, in a very competitive league. So, the level of football is excellent. We'll see that on Saturday with a very expensive looking Birmingham City side playing against Wycombe Wanderers. But Wycombe have some great players as well. You get access to the players here as a fan. If you come early and wait around after the game, you can chat to the players on their way in and out of the stadium. Sorts of things you don't get at sort of bigger clubs, Premier League clubs, Championship clubs. Wycombe is very much part of the community. And if you were to come here, it's a great family day out. It's a great day out if you just want to come down on your own, and you'll find like-minded people here as well. So, yeah, if you're thinking about coming down and checking it out, then now's a great time to do it.
Absolutely. And from what you've seen so far this season, what you're hoping to see on Saturday?
Well, I'd love to see a Wycombe Wanderers win. I think we'll give it a really good go, and I think it'll be a fantastic game. I think it's a good time to play Birmingham because, like we said, they've made a lot of signings. That can sometimes take time to settle down, so perhaps it's good to play them now rather than if they do get into a groove and are really rolling by sort of December, January time. That could be a tricky period to play them. But this one, I think it's all there to play for Wycombe. And if the fans play their part too and get behind the boys, hopefully we can rattle Birmingham and get the 3 points.
Really nice, obviously, to get points on the board as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a funny time, isn't it? You can win 2-3 games in August and it can really give you a fantastically lofty position. And then we saw it last season. I think Cambridge were top after 3 or 4 games and they were right down the bottom until the final day of the season. I think they managed to stay up. So you don't get too carried away if you're top. Equally, you don't get too carried away if you're not in the position you think you should be. It's about looking at the performances and then making sure that those points are getting put on the board as the weeks roll by.
Great to chat to you as always. Enjoy the game on Saturday.
Nice one, Colin. Thank you very much.
You'll be able to hear Phil with live commentary here on Wycombe Sound and on Wanderers TV on Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff. Again, nice to get back to that, isn't it? Against Birmingham City at Adams Park. You can hear the full chat with Matt Bloomfield on Wanderers TV as well. Let's now bring you a chat with the Chief Executive of Wycombe Wanderers Foundation, Mark Gateskill. It's been a very busy time for them, especially over the summer.
Yeah, so we're fully in the midst of our summer soccer school programme across a number of venues in the local area. And I guess it's been boosted this year by the kind of commercial sponsorship of a certain cereal brand, Kellogg's, who come on board with the EFL and are actually powering summer soccer schools across the country. So it's been a really great partnership and really successful. So lots of people have had access to free soccer school places. It's been a real huge success. We've got venues with close to 100 children a day enjoying their football activities and lots of different things going on. So yeah, we are particularly busy and a number of other things going on with pre-season for the women's team, which has started. And I can tell you a little bit more about that in a moment, I guess.
No, absolutely. And you must be so pleased with how well established the foundation is. And it feels like such a long time ago we were talking to you about the name change, and perhaps many people can't even remember what the previous name was. It's worked so well. But also, how many different areas that you're involved with and are working with so many different people on.
Yeah, look, the foundation, and I think not just for Wycombe. This isn't a purely Wycombe thing. I think the importance of foundations up and down the country just continues to grow, because I think there's need within the communities for support and programs and help. And I think football's such a powerful engagement tool that it breaks down barriers. So yeah, we continue to grow. We're expanding. This is, whilst it's a heavy recruitment focus for the club side and signing new players and talent and talk of the sort of the new academy. It's similar for us. We're out there recruiting. We've got new staff coming on board for the start of our new season in September. So it's super exciting. We've sort of tweaked our model now a few times in the near 2-year period I've been at the club, which has just gone by in a flash. We were sort of 4 departments, which we kind of reduced to 3 and merged 2 together. We're actually next season going back to 4 due to some new provision that's come in. So one of our departments, which is sports participation, next year we're splitting into 2 areas. So sort of sports participation remains one, and then performance. So we've got a kind of performance aspect of what we do with the sort of the merging of the women's team program and our mini academy node as EDA, and the Girls Development Academy and the Henley College program. So yeah, we're tweaking again, but continue to grow.
And obviously inclusion is a big thing about what you do, and it was really interesting to read recently about the sensory packs that are being introduced, especially with the first home game just around the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've gone the route with a few appointments of sharing staff with the club, which has been really impactful, and particularly in the media team, which is where we started, because there's a need for staff with that skill set and that talent across kind of both organisations. So having staff with those skills in both camps has proven really helpful, and we've done that again with a community engagement officer. So that staff member works across both areas and ultimately is there to, what the title says, engage with the community across the board. So with a very very inclusive focus, and we're delighted we've delivered a sensory pack, which is going to be available from the first home fixture. So for certain members of our community coming to a football stadium with lots of people and lots of noise and lots of sort of sensory stimulation can be quite daunting and sort of a more challenging experience than it is for some. And there's then sort of a special need, but why should they miss out on that experience for that? So what can we do to help that experience? And we're delighted that a local partner has come on board and funded the delivery of. We've got 50 sensory packs with various things in there that will help for those with heightened sort of sensory needs on a match day.
And also, I know we've spoken to you before about the street soccer program, but that's had some great recognition as well.
Yeah, so our street soccer guys, we recently finished another cohort, and they were lucky enough to head to Leicester City's training ground, which obviously there are many Premier League clubs with really impressive training facilities, but Leicester's is one of the most one of the newest, and really is a spectacular facility. So our group went up for a national tournament at that facility and had a really, really great experience, and sort of were treated like pros for the day, which was great, and our staff went up. So we look forward to delivering more cohorts in the upcoming season. So we're going to go from 2 potentially to 4.
And there's fantastic stories that come from things like that. I heard about a young guy called Ebenezer, who's originally from Ghana, and a fantastic story to be able to see his development. Yeah,
look, I think that the 4 sort of strategic objectives for us as a foundation around sort of sports participation, health and well-being, education, employability, and cohesion and inclusion, they're very interlinked. So actually, it's really important that they are connected. So you're absolutely right. Ebbs was in the street soccer program and has graduated and done really, really well. And we're actually looking to try to provide some employability options and skill workshops for him to upskill him and continue his progression through street soccer actually into a greater role in the foundation. So that is a sort of a fantastic case study, an example of exactly what we're trying to do.
And you talked about the women. That seems such a fantastic tie-up as well, as you mentioned, with your own sort of girls' development academy as well, and just seeing the progression into Carl's setup as well.
Yeah, look, we had a girls' development academy that kind of ran from sort of 6-7 years old up to 16. So providing that platform for talented girls to come and hone their skills and work hard to learn and improve. And then the women's team setup started at under 18s. Along with development squad and first team, so it just felt like an absolute no-brainer to connect the dots, if you like. So we've now got an entire pathway, and we've dubbed it from sort of first kick to first team, because you could bring your 4, 5, 6-year-old daughter into a foundation program, having never kicked a ball before, and having her first football experience, and I'm sure would fall in love with the game, develop her skills, and potentially she might be gifted and talented. And obviously, it's a long journey, but stay with us all the way up to representing the club in you're right, in Carl's first team. So, really, really exciting partnership and a real statement of intent from the club in terms of supporting the women's game and the development of that side of what we do. We had pre-season actually start at Marlow Road this year, so we don't normally train there. We would have been out at Wickham Rye, which is very different facility, lovely as it is as a public space, but a great sign of intent, like I said, from the new owners in providing us with access to Marlow Road for the women's team pre-season. So look great for those girls and those players to come back in to start their pre-season training at what was essentially a professional training ground complex last year for a League One professional side. So, yeah, look, it's exciting times. I think we'll be working to try to deliver some fixtures at Adams Park as well, and we're going into the season with, like I say, lofty aspirations for sure. We're targeting promotion, and that might not happen this year, but we'll continue until it does, and not just one promotion, but multiple. We want to climb the ladder, and like I say, lofty aspirations of why not dream big and aim to turn that programme professional.
And especially with the club's new owners as well, it must be such an exciting time to be involved, and other projects that you've got in the pipeline as well.
Yeah, look, I think it's a really exciting time for everyone connected with Wycombe Wanderers. There's been again a statement of intent from the new owners immediately with sort of an investment in infrastructure. The move to the new training ground, which gives the club a real heightened capacity. That I think the facilities will be outstanding. There's clear direction towards rebuilding and restarting the club's academy, which the foundation will be involved with due to our kind of already successful EDA program. Like I said, and I've already talked about the women's team, and I'm quietly confident that we'll start the season with a bang.
And so many things that you've done previously as well, which have been so well received, and such important parts of the community. Things like the Chairboys chats that you've done, and the chores as well, and providing the warm space in the winter as well.
Yeah, look, I think we're up to around 28 or 29 different programs. We'll probably surpass the 30 mark next season. So, and look, with lots of those involve football, and football's a key part of it, but lots of them don't as well. So we're we're really excited and happy to continue with the work we're doing in lots of different areas and supporting lots of different people.
It just goes to show, as you touched on earlier as well, how important the football club is as a part of the community. Yeah,
I think the common label is that football clubs are the heartbeat of their community, and I hear that a lot, and I don't think it could be put any better. They really are. Football, means a lot to a lot of people, but also football clubs have the capacity to reach and help a lot of people in lots of different ways, not just on a match day and watching, I guess, 22 men and women run around on the pitch kicking the ball. It really is a lot more than that, and it can mean a lot to people in difficult and challenging times. It's that release, and I think this is always a nice time of year where the community is really excited. We dream for promotion and chasing success, and look, I think the club is really, really well placed to achieve that this season.
And what message would you like to get across to supporters and even, perhaps people who've not yet discovered the club or even what the foundation do about the work that the foundation does do?
Yeah, look, I think to supporters, come and get involved. No role is too big and too small to get involved with the club. I think there's voluntary opportunities with both the football club and the foundation, and I'd really love you to sort of check out what we do. Follow our social media. That's at WWFCFDN. Have a little look, see what we do. We've got an unbelievable videographer who kind of showcases the work that we do on a regular basis, and have a look, see what we do. I think you'd probably be surprised at the sheer breadth and depth of what we do, and we would really value people's support in many different ways, and you can get in touch with us on our website as well at wickhamwanderersfoundation.co.uk. Really appreciate your time. Great to chat to you. Thanks, Colin. Always a pleasure.
Across High Wycombe and South Buckinghamshire, and on your smart speaker.
Play Wycombe Sound.
This is Wycombe Sound.
Part 2 of the Wycombe Wanderer show still to come this hour. We'll hear from manager Matt Bloomfield looking ahead to Saturday's visit of Birmingham City to Adams Park in the first home game of the season. We'll catch up with Emma Newbury as well from Wycombe Wanderers Women as they prepare for their first start of the season, which kicks off on the 1st of September. But first, if you're a regular listener to the show, you'll know. In fact, when we first started putting this show together, I thought it'd be really fantastic to get a regular feature of some ex-players on. And I spoke to Matt Cecil at the club, and he said, you need to speak to JDT. He'll sort you out. So he put me in touch with JDT, who's the Vice Chair of the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association. I'm very pleased to say we can chat to him now. Hello.
Good evening, Colin. It's wonderful to be back. In fact, it only seems 2 minutes ago since we were last here.
But yet, so much has happened. You've had a very busy summer.
We've had a very busy summer. We've actually come a long way in the 15 years that we've had the official Ex-Players Association. And if you think we regularly top 100 paid-up members, and that in football for ex-players to pay up to become a member of an association, that in itself is something quite outstanding. In fact, I say 100, we lose obviously a certain amount of members every year, and one of those we lost in the summer was Terry Reardon. And at his funeral, I bumped into a guy who turned out to be a director of Fulham, and he said, I'm looking around this room and amazed at all you guys wearing these blue and blue ties, and I understand you're all members of the Ex-Players Association. We said, yeah. He said, do you know, he said, we've been trying to do this at Fulham for years, and we just can't achieve it. The players come, they go, they're not interested in going back. And yet we manage, as I say, to get that many doing regularly paying up, but also attending all our events. You know, this summer we had our golf tournament again. We had our bowls tournament again. Different people, different sports, but all ex-players. And that's fantastic. And of course, as you well know, everything that comes in goes out towards charities and to the club itself. And in fact, in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to be handing over a cheque for 4K to the Prostate Cancer UK, which was our charity last year, and we're already well set to top that this year for Alzheimer's Society. And again, both charities which have particular significance as far as football is concerned.
And sadly, recently you lost your oldest member. Tell us a bit about Johnny Brooks.
Yeah, that was an amazing story. Vince Faulkner and Keith Samuels do regular tours around the ground. In fact, I think there are some people actually in the club don't even know that these guys do this. They give up their time every week and take round schools, individuals, club fans, to all sorts of corners of the ground. And last 2 summers ago, they had a visit from the Star and Garter Institute in Wickham, which obviously has a lot of elderly people there, their new homes. And one of the ladies said, one of these guys used to play here. Well, not here, but for Wickham. And it turned out to be a guy called Johnny Brooks. And it turned out, after Vince and Keith talked to him, that Johnny was, when he joined, our oldest member. He played first in 1945, can you believe? And he remembered the game, he remembered the goal scorers, he remembered everything about the Wanderers in the 40s and 50s, and he was pleased as punch when we made him an honorary member, which was 2 years ago. And as I say, and as you just said, just a month ago, he died just 2 months short of his 97th birthday. But we like to think that those last couple of years, renewing friendships with ex-players, not quite going back to his era, but still being able to talk about that particular time was fantastic. And, we're known as the old boys. Some say we're the Wickham old boys. I prefer them to be called ex-players, but to be fair, Johnny Brooks was an old boy, and a fantastic advert going back to the 1940s for Wickham Wanderers, and the fact all those years later he was still holding a torch for them.
No, it's a fantastic story. Also, we must give a very hip hooray to John Maskell, who's had a new hip.
He hasn't only had a new hip, he's had his 4th new hip. Can you believe it? All that in the service of Wickham Wanderers. He dived around for 16 years with the Wanderers at Lokes Park, and we did a survey. I think there were 17 goalkeepers came and went in that time, challenging him for the number 1 jersey, and could never get past him. And of course, he's our ex-Players Association president. Great example to everybody around the club now. He still talks to the goalkeepers and tells them where they're going wrong. But a great character. But as you say, he's just had his 4th hip operation, and he rang me, in fact, just a few days ago to say he'd thrown away one of his crutches. He was now on one crutch, like Long John Silver, and absolutely amazing. By the way, not only has he got bad hips, he's got a bad back as well. He's had so many kicks in the back on the spine that hasn't been too pleasant either. But again, I can't tell you how wonderful a guy he actually is.
So tell us a bit about some of the events that you've got coming up. There's a brilliant story about Cliff Trott's shirt and Monty's.
Well, yeah. Well, first of all, as I said, we've had our golf and our bowls days, and we're in negotiations with the club at the moment for an ex-player reunion at the Cambridge match. That's still to be confirmed, but we're hopeful that it will go ahead. And in the meantime, Cliff Trott's son, Paul, presented us with Cliff Trott's shirt from the 1957 Amateur Cup final, and also the medal that he got for playing in that match against Bishop Auckland. And we've been trying to get an appropriate time and an appropriate place to actually put it. But we've now discovered a little crevice that we can open up in Montes, and we're going to display the shirt. It'll be properly done. We'll have his picture. We'll have the medal next to the story of the 1957 Cup final team, and that is going to be officially opened by Cliff's son Paul, and hopefully we are going to be able to have a lot of ex-players, some of whom will remember Cliff playing, and hopefully a few who even played with him, because we've still got a few survivors from that 57 team, Dennis Sarrett and Len Worley in particular, and Dennis Atkins, who played in that cup run. So that will be another event that is different, if you like, from the ordinary.
I know many fans really look forward to listening to the ex-players chat on the show, and we're really looking forward to speaking to more in the coming season as well.
Well, we hope so. The problem we have, and I think I've mentioned it before, is that everybody in the association inevitably is getting older, and the more modern player, not being local, sometimes, and I think I've told you the story before, when we said to Bayo, well, you're now eligible for the Ex-Players Association, and he said, which of the 17 clubs that he played for should he be a member of? And when we told him that actually it cost £20 a year to become a member, he nearly had a fit. But Matt Bloomfield, we made an honorary member last year, and of course we've got players going back, as I said, from the 50s and the more modern ones. And what we find is that players leave the club, go away, continue with their lives, and most of them are young. They've got to get a proper job. I always call it going to find a proper job. And they have to establish themselves in a new field. They haven't got time for, if you like, reminiscing. But when they get to a certain age, they suddenly think, I wonder what happened to so-and-so. And it's great for them to be able to contact us and say, can you put us in touch with so-and-so? And we then inveigle them to become members, and then bring on those people that they're trying to talk to in the first place anyway. So it's an ongoing process. I do fear for the longevity, because I would say our membership ranges, as I say, from the 50s through to the early 2000s. Getting the players after that, because they've moved around so much, because most of them, in fact, very, very few of them are local, we don't know what will happen, but we'll enjoy the ride while we can.
It's great to be able to share their stories and memories, and also the supporters as well. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Brilliant to chat to you as always.
Nice to talk to you. Keep up the good work.
Many thanks indeed. A friend of the show, JDT, who's the Vice Chair of Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, speaking to us here at Wycombe Sound.
Across High Wycombe and South Buckinghamshire, and on your smart speaker.
Play Wycombe Sound.
This is Wycombe Sound.
Final part of this week's Wycombe Wanderers show still to come. We'll hear from manager Matt Bloomfield as we look ahead to the visit of Birmingham City on the first home game of the season. We'll briefly turn our attention though to the women's team, who the fixtures for their campaign are out. Their first game is at home at Burnham on the 1st of September to AFC Portchester. They then play Southsea, Ascot United, and then the FA Cup second round qualifying. So we'll be looking forward to following their progress. Get to chat to many of the players. Went to a media event last night at the club. You'll hear more on that in the coming weeks as well. But been chatting to the long-serving, hope she doesn't mind me calling her that, Emma Newbury, who's visiting her parents. But as you'll hear, that's not too local.
No, a short trip to Spain. But yeah, very sunny here. bit like England, but a little bit more comfortable, I think.
Absolutely. It looks like an audio postcard.
Yeah.
I'm sure your teammates are very jealous of your current location.
Yeah, well, we all sort of try and book our holidays out of season, but with my job I can only go in the summer holidays. But I've had a good pre-season run-up, so I'm sure I'll be fighting fit for the first game in September.
And I guess it was no tricky decision for you to sign up again this season?
No, it was a no-brainer. Couldn't go out without my 10 years, obviously. I said to Carl, do I really need to sign this piece of paper? Surely that's a given. But yeah, we did joke about it. But yeah, no-brainer for me. I've been here since 2014. And yeah, it's changed a lot, but for the better, definitely.
I mean, I know when we've spoken to you before, we've sort of said, you've been there quite a long time, you must have seen so many changes, but I guess when you're coming up to 10 years, you really do perhaps reflect a bit more on, how it was when you first started compared to now.
Yeah, definitely. Bobby and I, the captain, were having a laugh at some of the photos from 2014 and the types of football kits that we were given, hand-me-downs from the club, and just small things like that make such a difference to how proud you are to wear the kit and how it makes you feel when you play, when we've actually got our proper football kit now. And I know it sounds silly, but back in 2014, the money just wasn't there and the support was really just beginning. So small things like having the kit, I say small things, it is a big thing to us, but having the facilities and the coaching staff, like we have a massive team of support behind us. So it really has changed over the 10 years I've been here.
And just how it's viewed, because people might not even realise that the women's team weren't even really affiliated to the club for quite a while.
Yeah, that's it. So back in 2014, we actually played at Stoke Poges at Recreation Ground, and a man and his dog would come and watch us, and I don't really think anyone actually knew we were a team, and our away strip wasn't even a Wycombe Wanderers kit. It was just a horrible pink kit. I can remember that ingrained into my memory, but people didn't really know we existed, and it did take a good 3, 4, 5 years to really establish ourselves and prove to the club that we were worth affiliating to.
And have there been real highlights or things that have really stood out, memorable moments from those sort of nearly 10 years? Well,
yeah, for me, I suppose it's just the commitment and playing so many matches for Wycombe, like your hometown. That's every girl's dream, really. Just meeting loads of really lovely players and developing alongside them, and having the opportunity to sort of integrate with the professional side of the club as well. Like there's not many people I know that have that link with their local club, and I suppose it's a little bit more special because I was born in High Wycombe. So as I grow up, I imagine if I have children, I'll be proud to sort of share those experiences with them, and obviously try and politely force them into football as well.
No, absolutely. And do you notice your own sort of development or in terms of your own kind of game and your own kind of progress as well?
Yeah, I mean, I started as a right winger in my prime when I was a little bit faster. Slowly moved back to right fullback. But I feel a lot more comfortable there now with sort of attacking opportunities when I see fit. But echo really what Bobby Lynch said with having to adapt our experience, we call it, to the game and changing our style of play. But yeah, I really enjoy playing in that position now. So a position I never thought I would enjoy, because when I was younger, I liked to, be more of an attacking player. And when the level wasn't as high as what it is in our club, I would score lots of goals. But obviously you come up against much better oppositions, like your goal count goes down. So I think as a defender, I've become a lot more solid over the years, got a bit stronger, and used that experience over the speed, I'd say.
And like Bobby said as well, do you also notice your, sort of experience within the team, how you sort of change from being one of the younger ones to a more senior experienced player that, other players coming through can really come to you for sort of advice and help on?
Yeah, I'd say like on the pitch, being in sort of a defensive role, you can see a lot of what's happening in the game, and certain things like if we're 2-1 up and we don't want to lose the game, we've got to sort of manage the game out. And I think that's our biggest issue at the minute, having a range of players, which is obviously a positive, but all different backgrounds, all different experiences, and just trying to really understand what it means to manage the game out. And sometimes you've just got to do certain things to be smart with the football, and it's not always about attacking, and it's about retaining the ball and being a little bit more smart with what you're doing. So yeah, I'd say that's probably the main thing. But yeah, from a leadership point of view, having the experience of playing many football games and working with like the goalkeepers who have mainly been quite young for our team recently, and just trying to help develop them and get their confidence up, really.
And what would you say has kept you at the club for so long? Is it just literally a big factor being when it's your hometown team?
Yeah, I'd say so. Obviously, being my home team, it's really nice, and I'm proud to say that I play for the club, and it's a nice environment. All the girls that join are really lovely, and I could see from the early days that there was potential for the club to go further, and it's just my luck that I'm nearing the end of my footballing career, and it's really just taken off, and it's just one of those things. But I imagine I'll probably still, I'm not putting a number on it, but in 3, 4, 5 years' time, still try and have some role within the club, whether that be coaching or whatever. But yeah, I don't plan on leaving anytime soon. Sorry, Carl.
And speaking to so many of the players, it feels like such a special group as well. As you said to Bobby, not just the first team, but some of the junior squad members as well.
Yeah, no, it's really good. So the best thing that happened to the club was having all of our teams in one place, because the biggest dilution of the club, we had a team, the seniors training at Flackwell Heath College, and then we had a team training in Thame, which obviously just didn't logistically make sense. And then it was about maybe 5 years ago, when we all got under the same training venue, and then we got our third team, which is obviously our under-18. So a really good player pathway. Then, of course, linking to the foundation this year and just having that stronger link with their GDA players, I imagine it's just going to continually feed through. So who knows, maybe we might get a veterans team out of us one day.
Without a pink kit, hopefully.
Yeah. No pink kits allowed.
And it sounds like as well, both you personally, but also the team obviously is becoming more and more established. And obviously since Carl's come in, obviously you've trained twice a week now, and as you say, that you're bringing in some very talented and real different age ranges of players, a real mix of youth and experience. Yeah,
definitely. I think the work that all of our volunteers in terms of social media have done behind the scenes has really helped to grow our profile online. So again, coming from a generation of, I'm sounding really old now, but where I didn't need to use social media to grow myself in football. I think that's the way football's going, and absolutely great. Like, use your social media to promote yourself. And I think Carl's using that to attract some higher team players who have had a little bit more experience in higher leagues. And obviously that's going to benefit us in terms of the experiences they've had. But the main positive, I'd say, of attracting these players is just bringing a little bit more creativity. And I think that's what we've lacked over the last few seasons, having strikers who can take players on and put crosses into the box. And like some of the stats that come out of our attackers, because we have these trackers that we wear, and they're just crazy, the amount of sprints they do, the distance they cover, and I wish I could do that, but it's just lovely to see their energy that they bring.
And does it feel especially exciting for all those things that you mentioned, going into this new season?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've had a fairly mixed pre-season. As you do, you try and get some fixtures with these higher team players just to get some better oppositions, people you might not have played against before and you don't know anything about them. We had a really competitive game a couple of weeks ago against Chesham, who are National League and have been established in that league for many years. So it was just a lovely game to play, and although the scoreline didn't reflect the effort and the intensity that we put in, there were lots of positives. Attacking, defending. Poor Bobby had to go in goal, as she mentioned before. She plays in many positions, but yeah, just seeing everything come together all of the hard work that we've put in across the three teams, because we're always having to lean on, the under-23s and the under-18s when we've got players out on injury or whatever. So, yeah, we're looking forward to our first game of the season. We've got FA Cup draw out already. So, yeah, positives. We've been in this division for far too long, and we were discussing the other day at training that it's so doable to get out of this division. We can't afford to throw away many games, so it comes back to just playing the game out, using our experience, using our new attacking players just to really try and make everything work on the pitch, because it's such a shame at training. Sometimes we think, we've worked so hard, why can't we just replicate this on match day? And it takes us to go 1 or 2-0 down to sort of come back and fight. But recently in pre-season, it hasn't felt like that. We've really got it solid in all areas. And
hopefully you get even more backing at Burnham this season with fans coming to your games.
Yeah, that would be lovely. Match days are Sunday at 2:00. Small fee on the gate, so get yourself down if you're at a loose end.
And they might get to meet Elvis as well.
Exactly. What more could you want?
Brilliant to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem. Thank you, Colin.
Great chatting to Emma from Spain. Elvis is Emma's dog, by the way. You might know that already. Let's catch up with manager Matt Bloomfield, who's been speaking to Phil ahead of Saturday.
Gaffer, back to league action on Saturday, and they don't come bigger than Birmingham City in League One.
No, obviously when the fixtures came out, Wrexham away, Birmingham at home, we knew that we were going to have an exciting start to the season. Two really, really big games for us. We've had a real good go with Wrexham last week, and really unfortunate it's come on the wrong side of a 3-2 defeat. And Birmingham have recruited incredibly well. One of the most exciting young coaches in the country. They've recruited as their head coach, and I'm sure they'll be extremely well drilled. We've already watched them back from their game against Reading last week. Obviously going to retain possession really well and play with a lovely style and philosophy. So we know we're going to be expecting a tough game.
Lots of changes 4 changes in midweek for the Cup win off the back of that game at Wrexham as well. So some big decisions to make going into that game.
There is, because everyone who came into the team on Tuesday evening was performed incredibly well. Clean sheet away from home, so the defenders obviously put on a good display, and carrying a front two with the threat of Richard Kone and Dan Udoh obviously gave us a real good threat at the top of the pitch. So we have to consider how the energy of the group is, make sure that we pick the right team, because when we're at our best we play with real energy and enthusiasm, and we need to make sure that first and foremost we're ready for the game on Saturday.
One blot on the copybook from Tuesday night was the red card for Alex Hartridge for the 2 yellows, so he won't be available.
Yeah, obviously disappointing. We chased Al for a long time, and really pleased to get him in the building. So I'm not sure if the referee knew he'd already been booked, because there was a big delay between the booking and the sending off. So maybe if he realised that it was a second booking in a red, it might not have happened. I'm just assuming from the actions on the night. It was didn't seem a particularly long delay in restarting the game, but we have to be wary of that, and it gives an opportunity for others in either a back 3 or a back 4.
At the other end of the pitch, Vokesy, Udoh and Kone all off the mark for the season already in the first 2 games, which as a manager you must be delighted by.
Yeah, hugely delighted, because again we know Richard's a player of extreme promise, and Dan Udoh's done it at this level for many years now, and we knew that his finishing is particularly good. He's outperformed his XG for the last 3 seasons at Shrewsbury, and such a Wickham type character we wanted to recruit into our building, and Vokesy, everyone knows about Vokesy's quality, and he still carries that, and he's been a massive player for our football club for the last 3 years, and we know he's still going to carry on being that for us.
And on Saturday, Adams Park, the fans will need to play their part. Birmingham will pack out the away stand and make a lot of noise, so the home fans need to turn out and respond too.
Yeah, I hope they've enjoyed watching us these first 2 games. I think the feedback from Saturday was that they enjoyed watching us, although we want to win games and we weren't happy that we didn't win, but I think the guys enjoyed watching us, and we need them on Saturday, absolutely. We need to, at the end of last season, Adams Park was great for us, and I want everyone to be looking forward to their Saturday afternoons to watch our team, and we want them to roar us onto victory.